40 terrifying seconds. How a gun modification amplified the fear in a robbery that lasted less than a minute. A retail thief with a taste for Lululemon leggings.
He said, please don't book me for organized retail theft.
The quick and coordinated police work that cuffed a suspect with a long rap sheet. Bravery in the face of flames.
Hey! Hello! Your car is burning!
Hear from the hero who helped pull a man from a fiery wreck. Tonight in the Spotlight.
The Spotlight brought to you by Beacon Plumbing.
Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight for The Spotlight. I'm David Rose. A convicted felon accused of stealing thousands of dollars worth of clothing from a Lululemon store is in jail. The Seattle Police Department is sharing exclusive video of the theft and the arrest with us as an example of how they are streamlining their efforts to focus on 911 response over investigations when it comes to property crimes. That's because they're still dealing with a staffing shortage. But as you're about to hear, they are starting to see a positive trend on hiring.
Surveillance video from July 26th shows two suspects entering the Lululemon store in University Village empty-handed. Then one suspect takes a bag off the shelf and starts stuffing it with leggings. Then both of them take off out the emergency door with the merchandise, worth more than $2,500. Seattle Police Deputy Chief Eric Barden says the store quickly notified them.
The officers that responded to the scene were able to then communicate with officers in the East Precinct who went out to the light rail thinking that we might have an opportunity to find him there, and in fact they did.
32-year-old Jonathan Joseph Ho was about to get off at the stop on Broadway East in Capitol Hill when an officer arrested him.
I need you to step out.
Court documents say Ho admitted to stealing and reselling the items and made a very specific request.
He said, please don't book me for organized retail theft.
And did that work?
No, didn't work. Didn't work. They booked him anyway.
Keene County prosecutors charged him with organized retail theft in the second degree.
The store was able to, with their video, was able to show that he'd had stolen well over $10,000 worth of items just himself in the months previous to this incident.
Ho's criminal history shows 10 busts for theft since 2012. Because he is a repeat offender, a conviction for organized retail theft could send him to prison for up to 5 years.
Law matters, policy matters, votes matter, so that when someone, we have an organized retail theft RCW that carries a bigger punch than, a regular shoplifting or theft type situation.
Chief Barden says the arrest is an example of how their department is prioritizing 911 response.
That is the primary function that we're able to accomplish right now, and even that is stretched thin at times.
Because of low staffing levels, if patrol officers had not been able to identify Ho, it's unlikely there would have been any follow-up investigation. The department is down 35 officers in 2024, but Chief Barden says the number of applications is rising, and some officers who left Seattle for other departments are returning.
So in general, why are they wanting to come back to SPD?
I don't think you can underestimate the impact of a new city council, a supportive executive, and a lucrative contract.
Officers who lateral back in can be on the streets in weeks, providing relief for those who have been working extra shifts.
I think officers take the responsibility for keeping Seattle safe to heart.
A quick note, we did not blur the suspects in that video. The Seattle Police Department blurred the video, citing their policy. I tried to find a photo of Ho to show you, but none was available, and the Keene County Jail is not allowed to release booking photos per state law. The second suspect who was with Ho has not been identified and probably won't be because the department doesn't have the staffing to do any investigative follow-up on property crimes right now. Ho is not only charged with organized retail theft, he also has pending cases in Seattle for car prowling. A Puyallup gas station ransacked and robbed for just a few dollars. Investigators say a group of teens held up this Chevron back on August 10th, carrying guns with illegal modifications. Pierce County Sheriff's deputies are trying to track down 4 suspects. The Spotlight's A.J. Janavel walks us through that robbery that unfolded in 40 seconds flat.
A normal early morning shift turns into a nightmare in an instant. 3 children, investigators say, burst into a Puyallup gas station, guns drawn.
How terrified those employees must be, and how concerned I would be in that situation.
Cameras captured the entire attack. First, a Kia SUV pulls up with 4 people inside. 3 walk into the store, armed with illegal extended clip handguns. The underage robbers threaten the employee despite the clerk following their instructions. Pointing a gun in the worker's face with a strobe flashlight directly at their eyes. A second employee is crouched in the corner for the entirety of the armed assault.
Just create more fear, compliance, making sure that they're sending a message.
With a handful of 1s and 5s, the gunmen take off. The robbery taking a little more than 30 seconds. The armed crook's getaway driver waiting for them in the parking lot.
Based on watching that video and the lack of fear that they seem to exude and the comfort in handling their weapons, I would imagine this was not the first time they've done this.
Detective Courtney Bielko with the Pierce County Sheriff's Department tells me they want this robbery to be the last for these dangerous children.
We have to truly identify them, though, and we need your help to make that happen.
For the Spotlight, I'm AJ Janavel.
Crime Stoppers of Tacoma Pierce County is offering up to $1,000 for any information that leads to an arrest in the case. You can submit a tip by calling 1-800-222-TIPS or through the P3 Tips app, and you will remain anonymous. Renton police are hoping you can help generate a lead in a drive-by shooting that left a woman dead. That shooting happened around 2 a.m. on September 2nd on Shelton Avenue Northeast. Police say the victim managed to drive away from the scene, but only made it about 2 miles. Officers found her inside her car near the Renton Inn. She died at the scene. Detectives are looking for any possible witnesses or surveillance footage from the area. So if you were in the area between Northeast 12th Street, Duval Avenue, and Northeast 4th Street, Sunday night between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. on Monday, Renton police want to hear from you. If you have that video or any information, please reach out to the department. Now to an arson case in Renton that investigators think a would-be burglar might have something to do with. Surveillance video shows an SUV pulling up to the top of the hill Quality Produce back on August 22nd. Police say a man tried to get inside the store after hours but wasn't able to. Then just 2 days later, the store erupted in flames, and investigators determined that fire was intentionally set. Because the arson happened so soon after the attempted burglary, detectives are calling this man a person of interest. Police believe he's in his 20s or 30s with reddish-brown hair and a beard. If you know who he is, submit a tip to Crime Stoppers or Renton Police. It's been a year and a half since a Tacoma man vanished, and his family is desperate for answers. This one is a complete mystery. What happened to Eric Wells and his white Mercedes-Benz? Investigators are calling his disappearance suspicious. The Spotlight's Shira Matsuzawa spoke with his mom and dad, who are urging anyone who has information to please come forward.
And it takes everything you've got to get up and to function, and you do. You're numb when you do it, but you do it.
You can see and hear the grief on their faces and in their voice. Kathy and Lou Wells say their son Eric was driving out toward the McKenna-Yelm area in March of 2023 to meet someone when he had a flat tire. Eric hasn't been seen since.
His car is gone. He's gone.
His phone went blank. We've been looking everywhere for our son. Some days are pretty rough. Some are better than others. But a lot of rough days. A lot of just the not knowing.
The leads are very sparse.
While Eric did not live in Fife, Assistant Chief of Police for Fife Police Department Doug Newman says his last known location was at a hotel in that city, which is why they are investigating what happened.
What I tell you is that his disappearance is of a suspicious nature, and we do have some information that Mr. Wells may or may not have had some struggles, as many people do, with substance abuse.
He adds a missing person alone is not a crime, but they're trying to explore every avenue to find out if there's any criminal intent involved.
The challenges have been really to try to find significant leads and people who have last seen him.
Nobody's coming forward with anything. They'll straight tell you. They'll tell you that I know what happened, but I ain't saying nothing.
For Eric's parents, the not knowing is the worst part.
Is he with us still? Is he not with us? Does somebody have him? I mean, you think of every scenario there is possible. He's a grown man, but he's still our child, you know?
Still our boy.
Yeah.
Kathy and Lou say they've been wanting to move, but can't.
What if we moved and then he came home one day and somebody else was here? You know, it's hard, but we have to be here. You know, we gotta wait.
And they keep waiting, even as birthdays come and go. Like Eric's 38th birthday.
So it's 2 birthdays now. We have not seen him. We love him so much. So, and we need our boy.
For the Spotlight, I'm Shira Matsuzawa.
There is a $10,000 reward for anyone who has information about what happened to Eric. So if you know anything, you are urged to contact the Fife Police Department. A heist using heavy machinery was caught on camera in Seattle's Queen Anne neighborhood. Surveillance video shows a bulldozer ripping out an ATM. The suspects then left the scene, one of them in the bulldozer, the other in a truck. This happened around 4 a.m. on September 2nd on West Nickerson near Seattle Pacific University. Officers caught up with them and tried to stop them, but the suspect who was on the bulldozer jumped into the bed of the truck and both suspects took off. The bulldozer rolled into the back of the patrol car, damaging it. Officers were able to recover the ATM. It turns out that bulldozer had been stolen from a construction site in Ballard. A trio of suspects have been arrested in a string of burglaries that stretch from Newcastle to Bellevue to Kirkland. Investigators say the summer crime spree was carried out by a convicted felon, his girlfriend, also a convicted felon, and her son. The Spotlight's Nia Wong explains how a piece of trash helped Bellevue police crack the case.
It all started with his Honda Accord driven by Davis Bateman Jr. and a piece of trash he allegedly threw out his car in Bellevue. Court documents say a security guard confronted the 18-year-old, telling him to pick up his trash before Bateman Jr. pointed a gun at him. This interaction led investigators to his apartment in Renton, but it's what investigators found inside the apartment that gets interesting. In it, they say they found a backpack with firearms, one of them reportedly stolen out of Tacoma. Bateman has no known criminal convictions, but does have multiple pending misdemeanors, and with a domestic violence contact order, he was not allowed to have guns. Also inside the apartment, he shared with his mother, Krista Moniz. Documents say evidence linked her and her boyfriend Daniel Bateman to stolen credit cards used at stores that captured the two on surveillance cameras. Detectives matched the tattoo on Bateman's left hand to security video from a home burglary in Newcastle. When they took him into custody, he was wearing one of the victim's watches.
Of course, we hear some people who say it's just property crime, but I don't think anybody would say that if that was their house. It's a real concern for public safety. These are very serious allegations.
Investigators also recovered stolen passports, money, jewelry, marriage certificates connected to home burglaries in Kirkland, Bellevue, and Newcastle.
When you see the details in these court documents, it's concerning. It should be hopefully reassuring what prosecutors and police are doing to address it.
Both Moniz and Daniel Bateman are convicted felons, and they're again captured on surveillance, accused of stealing a Toyota Prius outside a general store in King County.
We're able to take this action because of what Bellevue police did. They sent us a solid investigation that we wanted to get before the court right away.
For the Spotlight, I'm Nia Wong.
Just a great job by the Bellevue Police Department and their detectives. Well, the Thurston County Sheriff is expressing frustration about the lack of judicial accountability for repeat offenders. That's something we've talked about a lot here on the Spotlight. Sheriff Derek Sanders says meaningful change is needed in court to help law enforcement maintain public safety. And there's one high-speed chase in particular the sheriff is sounding off on. Dash cam, body cam, and aerial video captures a pursuit back on August 20th as deputies and troopers chased a 25-time convicted felon who drove recklessly before rolling a stolen truck off an embankment. Brent Rosie and his girlfriend were taken into custody. Rosie has a long history of theft, burglary, felony harassment, threats to kill, and attempting to elude police. As Rosie was being taken to jail, he asked about his bail amount and told the deputy, he'd be out the next day. During a preliminary court appearance, prosecutors made strong arguments for a $100,000 bail, but Judge Allison Zip set his bail at $25,000. Sheriff Derek Sanders is frustrated.
When they continuously get released and we have to keep dealing with them, then we get into shootings, then we get into these high-speed chases that end in death and casualties, and everyone wants to point the fingers at the police. And for the first time, I think we're really starting to point the finger back and say, listen, if this person would have been kept in custody for just a little bit longer, if they would have been given a reasonable sentence and all these different things, maybe the shooting wouldn't have occurred. Maybe they would be safe.
In a post to Facebook, Sanders voiced his disappointment with the court's decision, saying, quote, "I'm just sorry to the citizens of our state and our dedicated law enforcement officers and deputies who are dealing with a system that does not care about property crime or whether or not you're nearly killed by a 25-time convict running from police in another stolen car." The future of King County's youth jail is now clear. The Patricia Clark Children and Family Justice Center will stay open. King County Executive Dow Constantine proposed its closure in favor of a no locks, no cells approach. The King County Council voted to keep the center open with a number of amendments. Those will focus on alternatives to incarceration for lower level offenders who could benefit from drug and alcohol counseling or mental health treatment. Renters beware. When you're searching for a place online, a Seattle mother's warning of a rental scam after she was ripped off for thousands of dollars. She found an apartment listing with breathtaking views of the Space Needle and wanted to rent it for her disabled son. The Spotlight's Dave Detling has more on the scam that used images and information from a legitimate real estate company.
Vet them more. Had I did a research on this place, I would have known that for sale.
It's a tough lesson learned and one that cost Allison Simon $3,700.
There's scammers out there. Don't ever wire your money to anyone who is out of state and you're trying to rent a place here in Seattle.
She says she fell victim to an online ad posted on Craigslist. The rental ad has been taken down and flagged after she reported it to the site.
I pity him, you know. For individual to sit down and think about how they can con and rob someone, especially a disabled child, a mother who is trying to put her son into an apartment so he could become independent.
The person Allison was dealing with was offering a one-bedroom at Clee Lofton Suites in Belltown. All of their communication was done through emails, something experts say can be a red flag.
Let us proceed. I handle all my son's finances and I'm responsible to pay all his rent.
The problem is the condo was never available for rent. A search showed it's listed for sale by Windermere Real Estate.
Never was it on sale. It was on sale by a real estate company, Windermere.
The legitimate broker responsible for the condo now knows about someone using the company's listing and photos to try and swindle people. Allison says she spoke to the broker and made sure he was aware of the situation.
This is my paper trail.
This mom now documents everything and says she's filed reports with various agencies.
He's kind of trying to play the game.
For the Spotlight, I'm Dave Detling.
Rental scams are prevalent throughout the U.S. Experts say if you can always tour a listing in person, do multiple checks, and never, ever, ever wire money.
It's completely involved.
Dramatic body cam video shows Fife officers rushing to the scene of a burning car. It went up in flames on an I-5 exit ramp following a crash. Officers had to assess whether anyone was inside. Well, the car was empty thanks to some Good Samaritans who jumped into action before police arrived. One of those Good Samaritans had a camera rolling as the driver was pulled from the flaming wreck. The Spotlight's Jennifer Dowling talked with a man behind the camera who rushed towards danger. Incredibly, this Good Samaritan says he was saved from a fire when he was a young boy.
Is there people inside? Oh my God.
Mohammed Malkawi was the first to pull over after seeing this burning Subaru with the driver trapped inside.
Hey! Hello! Your car is burning!
I really freaked out because, you know, I saw someone struggling inside and the car is on fire.
Another man caught on video started punching the car window, but it wouldn't break.
He was inside crying and he couldn't do anything. Then I was like freaking out because the car is burning completely.
Mohammed yelled to his friend to grab something to smash the glass.
Right now I'm saying like in Arabic like hajar, which is like find me like a rock, piece of rock.
As the flames spread, that friend ripped a fence post from the ground.
I don't want to see this gentleman like burning in front of my eyes.
Mohammed took the post and tried to smash a hole in the windshield.
We tried to crack the side door window, it didn't break. We tried to break the windshield and barely broke. Finally, the driver door gave up and opened and sent like a ball of fire.
As they pulled him out, the flames followed.
As soon as I opened the door, it's almost exploded.
Rescuers made sure no one else was inside.
Anyone else? Get away from the car. Anyone else? Get away from the car.
Mohammed said his father saved his own life when he was young.
I have been inspired by my dad, who saved my life.
He says when he was just 6, he poured paint thinner on a fire, which exploded. His dad ran over to him and patted him down with sand to save his life.
I have the empathy to help out because I have been through that.
After years of surgeries and treatment, his own hands are still scarred.
I believe it's God's will that he is still alive. I know how painful and hard it is. I saved his life. I saved his life.
Rather than feeling like a hero, he says God put him in the right place at the right time.
I'm very thankful and happy that I saved someone's lives.
For the Spotlight, I'm Jennifer Dowling.
And to Mohammed and the rest of those heroes, thank you for reminding us that there are more good people in the world than bad. The man who was rescued was taken to the hospital, is recovering from burn injuries. The State Patrol says he's under investigation for DUI. He hit another vehicle before his car caught fire, but that driver was not seriously hurt. Still, we'd love to hear from the driver who was rescued. That does it for us tonight on The Spotlight. Until next week, I'm David Rose. Please stay safe.